This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English. Here's your host, Martin Johnston.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Episode number 291, baby. Oh yeah. As I told you last week, or earlier in the year, I can't remember, we are now going to do an episode every week here on Rock and Roll English. But as last week was the RnR conversation with Corporal Coma, this week is something different, okay? Because as I mentioned earlier in the year, we will do different things on this podcast, the other podcast, not the RnR conversation with one of my friends, which will happen every 2 weeks. But on this podcast, we will do pronunciation rhymes. I will have guest conversations with other podcasters. We will have stories and much more. And today we have a story. A short but very, very RnR story. Very famous as well. You may have heard it, but when you hear a story from a different person, it's a different story because each person puts their own individual thing on it, don't they? But just before we start, just to tell you, Mrs. RnR is about to pop, as we say, because baby RnR number 2 will be here very soon. So just to let you know, probably there will be some disruption soon on the podcast. Anyway, back to the story. The story is a folk tale, which I now absolutely love telling. If you don't know what a folk tale is, it's a story passed on by word of mouth, let's say, that no one really knows if it's true or not. But at the same time, who cares? As I always say, never let facts get in the way of a great story. And folktales, telling stories, is a very big part of my new online course, Fluency via Pronunciation and Storytelling, where I help you tell a story, let's say in public, to the rest of the class. The course is actually starting today. Today's course is sold out, but there are still a couple of places left in the courses starting tomorrow if you're interested. So if you would like to be part of it to fix your personal pronunciation errors, which will make you sound more colourful, let's say, in English and more confident, learn connected speech to sound more fluid and understand native speakers more easily, then stop this podcast now. Send me a message on Instagram, on Facebook, or go to rockandrollenglish.com/fluency. Anyway, here is the story I'm going to tell you today, which is about Picasso. Now, in England, we say Picasso, but in Italy, they say Picasso, which I kind of prefer, and I think he was Spanish, so I'm going to go with Picasso. Okay, because that's just more continental. I feel more intelligent if I say Picasso. Like I knew him personally. So I hope you enjoy it. I will talk to you again after the story as well, just to kind of digest it. Happy listening. So once upon a time, Picasso was sitting in a cafe, minding his own business, just casually reading the newspaper, when a woman saw him and thought to herself, "Oh my God, it's Picasso, the famous artist. I can't believe it." She was a bit anxious, but she thought, you know what? I can't let this opportunity pass. So she decided to disturb him and say, "Excuse me, Mr. Picasso, I know you're reading your newspaper, but I am a huge, huge fan of yours, and I absolutely love your work." Picasso said, "Thank you, madame." And then the woman asked him, "Mr. Picasso, would it be possible for you to draw something for me. It would mean so much to me, I would keep it forever. So Picasso said, absolutely no problem at all. So he takes a napkin nearby and does this very quick sketch on the napkin, a very quick drawing for her. And the woman says, oh my God, thank you. This drawing is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. How much do I owe you? How much money do you want for this drawing, Mr. Picasso? Picasso thought for a moment and then said, that will be $30,000, please. What? The woman said, how can that be $30,000? It took you 30 seconds to draw. Then Picasso responded, no, madame. It didn't take me 30 seconds. It took me 30 years. Boom shakalaka. Now, as I said, that is a very famous story, but I think at the same time very powerful. I love that story as it shows we never understand what is actually behind someone's work. Because nothing is just talent, is it? It's work as well. Talent helps a lot. For example, I am absolutely terrible at drawing. Even if I drew for 30 years, I would still be terrible. But talent alone will get you nowhere without work. Obviously, this makes me think of football, like everything does, because there are lots of talented footballers that don't have great careers and success. But there are lots of footballers, much less talented, that do have great careers and huge success. And the difference is work. Because we often think maybe things will just get better without work, without putting in the work, but they won't. And it's the same with languages, isn't it? When people arrive at that upper intermediate stage, it's really difficult to improve, to make the jump to become advanced, an advanced speaker, C1 level, which I often hear people talk about and ask me, how can I get there? I will then say, what are you doing at the moment to improve? And the answer is nothing. So going back to the story, we need to work. And obviously I need to take this opportunity again to remind you to take action. If you are stuck at that upper intermediate level, take action. My online course is there for you, where you will study things you haven't studied before and you can become an advanced speaker. Not just from the course, I have to underline this, but it will open up your eyes to a completely new world and help you make that jump. You will have all of the tools you need, because remember, learning languages isn't just vocabulary and grammar. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. I will see you all again very soon, people. But in the meantime, just keep on rocking, baby.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.